LVC, the network. Television redefined. High-quality content for high-quality viewers.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the world-famous Jazze Pha in the building. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Jazzy, it's an honor to have you here, brother.
Hey man, great to be had.
Hey. What does music mean to you, Jazzy?
What does music mean? That's a big one right there. Man, it's almost like H2O for me, you know. Like oxygen almost, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, ever since I can remember, you know, I was singing songs, I was making sounds, you know, with my mouth before beatboxing, you know what I mean? I would sound out the sounds in the song, and my mom would remind me of, you know, when I would like hear a song, I would hear like, somebody's knocking at the door, somebody's ringing my bell, and I would play the melodies. I would sing the melodies. And she was like, this dude right here is like a musician. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I was never like super musically inclined. I just knew what I could hear. You know what I mean? I knew what I wanted to hear.
As we know, hip hop turns 50 this year, right?
Yeah.
What does this milestone mean to the culture?
What it means to the culture is that like now you can say old school. You know what I mean? You could actually say, you know, Melly Mel was an old school artist. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, 50, I think 50 is that year. You know what I'm saying? Where you can say, you know, when you look back and be like, yeah, you know, back in the day, you know, of course we take Throwback Thursday and we say, yeah, back in the day, and be like, you know what I mean, 10 years ago. But 50 years, bro?
50.
As long as I can remember, there's been rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's like, you know, I ain't gonna tell my age, but you know, I started rapping early. You know, probably about 9 years old. You know, started rapping and you know, and started making beats. I think I got my first Dr. Rhythm. This drum machine was about this big. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
First Dr. Rhythm at like 15. You know, doing talent shows and all that.
I can dig it. How do you feel about hip hop today?
Oh man, I feel great about it. I feel like it's hard, but it's fair. I feel like it's hard, but it's fair because you say, I mean, we didn't get in it for it not to get diverse. You know, a lot of people got they you know woes about it, but then you still, if you go look at a lot of those school MCs, they making more money than ever now because it's not a common thing anymore. So when you get a KRS-One coming to town, the show is sold out. So like, do we really have anything to complain about for real? You know what I mean? But it's just the money's in a different place. It's like who moved the cheese? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now if you can understand that concept, now us, you know, the Brown, you know what I'm saying? We you know typically are you know into what we know. You know what I mean? And we don't really get into, you know, the young quirky guys, the not so cool, you know, crew. And so now's the day where you got to have some nerds in your section.
Got to.
You know what I'm saying? You got to be hanging around with some nerds so you can know what's popping. And you got to have the youngins around. You got to have the youngins around. Be like, because I look to the right, I look to the left in my sessions. I always got them around. I'd be like, is that cool? Is that dated? You know what I'm saying? Am I being, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just like in my cadence, what I'm doing, even writers, like when I'm writing things, it be like, if I say, you know, I might say something like, that's cold, Jack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's like all my players, my Uncle Bunny and all them players, they was like pimps and hustlers.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Yep.
They said that. They was like, that's cold, Jack. You know what I'm saying? But now, it's like, it's cool to them because now it's all about what nobody's saying. Like once everybody starts saying that's cap, then kids stopped saying it. Then they come up with something new. They always come up with something new. They're like, we don't say that no more. I was like, you were just saying it last year. But it's old.
Go figure.
Old,
yeah.
bro. You know what I mean? Thus we got bell bottoms again for the like third time.
Everything comes back around.
Everything's a cycle.
Yep.
Everything's a cycle. But I mean, I think the rap is a little different though. It's a different kind of cycle that's going on now. But if you think back, they had rappers that were like demonic. But it wasn't such a big market. It wasn't such a big market and people, and I think God was way more popular back then.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
A whole lot more.
A lot more popular because now everybody's with this universe thing. You know what I mean? And I don't knock nobody, but I mean, I don't think the universe woke me up this morning. You know what I'm saying?
I know that's right.
I mean, I don't think, that there's just a non-human-like being that could create all these moving parts in your body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And bring the sun and the moon and the stars up at the same time every day.
Like clockwork.
You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
Jazz, what does the song Shonuff mean to Southern hip hop?
What does Shonuff mean to Southern hip hop?
Yes, sir.
I think it means
And the impact it had on Southern hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
I think it definitely puts you in the mind of the strip club.
Yeah.
Weed smoke.
Yep.
Hennessy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
8 Ball of MJG, of course. I mean, the legendary, just Southern, swang. You know what I mean? It was slow. The record was so big that I had to move to Houston. You know what I'm saying? Because we had shows every other week.
How long were you in H-Town?
I was in H-Town probably about a whole year.
Okay.
About a year, give or take. You know what I mean? But I was back and forth from Atlanta to Houston. But every time I come home, they'd be like, we got another show. We got a show Thursday. And I come home and they'd be like, we got a show Tuesday. I'm like, what? I was like, man, I'm just coming out there. You know what I mean? Because I got tired of going to the airport. So it was just crazy. And then that made me understand why the rappers in Texas make so much money. Because they're very territorial. It's like if you go on the east side, you go to Cloverland, and then you go over to over by Sharpstown, or over by some of those places. You might go to the east side or west side, and there's a whole nother crowd. It's a totally other crowd. You come to Atlanta, it's the same people everywhere you go. So you can't get a Meek Mill playing Atlanta 5 times 1 week. But Slim Thug can play Texas every day of the week.
Yep.
And it'd be a whole nother crowd, another bag. You know what I'm saying? And by the time you get through making the runs, it's time to make another mixtape. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So you rich. You feel me?
I can dig it, Jazz. How did you discover Ciara?
A friend of mine brought her to me. Guy named T.A., he brought her to me. I was actually at Dallas Austin studio.
Yep.
And Ciara was actually in a group. She was in a group, a 3-girl group called Hearsay. And she was one of the members. And he told me that he wanted me to check her out. But, I was kind of popping then, so they didn't want to leave the whole group out, so kind of brought them all in there. And he was like, keep your eye on that one. I was like, oh, it ain't hard to do. She's the one. You know what I'm saying? I think she was 16, turning 17, I believe. She was turning 17, and I think the next day, she was hanging out with me like for 3 days that week. She hung out with me for 3 days at DARP. She didn't do anything but just dance and around the studio, and we just kicked it and just getting to know each other, have a conversation about, what type of things she liked and what would she like to do. 4th day, from the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th day, I believe we recorded. Every song we recorded from those days were all on that first album. That's how locked in we were, how much synergy we had. You know what I mean? And those records were all on the album. And one of those records, which was I think Thug Style. Did you change the game? I like the Thug Style. That was like one of the second record me and John T. Austin we wrote for her. And that was the record that got her record deal with L.A. Reid. With Shakir Stewart, rest his soul, you know what I'm saying? That was the, you know, and I was in a meeting with L.A. Reid. I never had a meeting with a major executive about anything besides selling music, not artists. You know what I'm saying? So when I came to LA, I was playing on a bunch of music, and I said, man, this record right here is for Joe. This is what I did with Slick Rick. This is what I did with Outkast. He said, okay, that's all cool, bro. And I'm like, I'm thinking, got my chest all out. He said, that's cool, but what do you have that I can have, that I can take? What artists do you got? And I kind of looked around, and Shakir was like, man, what about the girl? What about the girl? I was like, okay. So I went out to my car, got the CD out, and played it for him. As soon as he heard that Thug Style, he was like, oh my God, I gotta meet her. And it was on from there.
Do you miss the old Atlanta?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this new Atlanta boy, but what it is, what I noticed about Atlanta when I first moved to Atlanta, even when people visited, I noticed the pattern, right?
Yep.
Because I'd have people visit all the time because I had a big house and I had, you know what I mean? So I'd have my friends come visit. Every time 4 people came, 1 or 2 people stayed or came back and stayed and moved in. So I was like, And then I started talking to my partners about it, and I was like, dog, in 10 years, this place is gonna be overpopulated. I said, I told them that back then. This was like in 93. This was, well, no, it wasn't 93 because I wasn't popping then. It had to be about 99.
Yeah.
About 99. You know what I'm saying? That's when they got live. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you remember that song, beat, or lyric that made you fall in love with hip hop and music?
I loved hip hop when I heard Melly Mel and The Message and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. But the one that really kind of took me in was I think was probably, it was between like the Fat Boys and Biz Markie.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All up in there. The record that probably really broke me, like with hip hop and just made me really fall in love with it was, I think, My Philosophy.
Okay.
KRS-One.
One, yes sir.
You know what I'm saying? That's when I really like had a different that's when it went to another level with me, because just that, you know, let us begin. What, where, why, or when? What we explain like instructions to a game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was just like he was between him, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, and all those guys. Mind you, my dad was on the road, so I was meeting all these guys. LL Cool J, you know what I'm saying? LL Cool J, yeah. All of those guys.
Yeah.
Run DMC, which I was a big, fan of JMJ, J Master J. One of my real good friends, man, rest in peace. But you know what I'm saying? Actually, one of my best friends now was his actual best friend, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Why me and JMJ got down so tough? It was the swag. It was the, we were similar.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I can dig that. Jazz, why is everybody selling they catalogs? Like, is that an indication that hip hop and music is going somewhere else?
It's the money.
It's the money.
It's the money, because when you look at it and you say, okay, you look at your catalog, right? And you say, well, this is just to the naked eye, and to the mind of, to a small mind, you look at that catalog and say, okay, I've been making X amount of dollars. And if I've been making X amount of dollars, okay, now I say, okay, I'm 45, I'm 50 years old. Okay, I'm gonna live until I'm 90, top 100, where I'm, I'm gonna just max it all the way out. If I get to live till I'm 105, and I do the multiples of what I usually make on a high note, You know what I'm saying? If I usually make $700,000 a year just off my catalog, okay, I'm gonna times that times 50. If they triple that, then I feel like it's a good deal.
It's a win.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's a good deal. But see, what it is, we don't have. They have a different kind of instrument that goes with their money. They turn it into an instrument, and they can go and get money off the money. They will never use the money. They will never use the catalog. They'll just use it as a chip. It's a bargaining tool. You know what I'm saying? I got this. I got the Rihanna. Because I seen them, like, they fighting over the Rick James. You know, Rick James' daughter is one of my best friends. And they trying to get the catalog so bad. Like, you should just put them on a speaker and just hear how these people just, it's not even about how much it's worth. It's not about how much it's worth. It's like a pissing contest with all these other guys. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, yeah, I got that smooth, that painting right there that Basquiat did. You know what I'm saying? And Basquiat might have only wanted $1 million. But now the thing went up to 30 million because Jay-Z wants it, and so does Harry Potter's mama, and you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Jazz, so before I let you go here, my good brother, can you give me the top 5 Jazzy records?
Oh, God.
Just give me 5 if possible.
How you gonna do me like that?
Yeah?
I gotta say Shonuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I gotta say Shonuff. 1-2 Step,
Yep.
Ciara. Those were my two most pivotal records. I'm gonna say Area Codes, Ludacris,
Luda,
because it was the most slept on as far as money making records for me. Even me, like I had no idea. When I got my check, I thought I got Luda. I thought I got everybody's check. You know what I'm saying? Because it was on the Rush Hour soundtrack.
Yep.
And I had never gotten money off a screenplay. You know what I'm saying? If you think, it was actually in the commercials that were running in 50-something countries. And we were getting paid off of that in advance. So when we got that check, it was like the craziest check I've ever gotten. I was like, okay, I want to be in movies. And that's why we did the Step Up soundtrack with Ciara and all of that. It was like we revisited that vibe again. But the song with Area Codes, even, you know what I mean, with Nate Dogg, that was like unmatched. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's a Nate Dogg fan. I was glad to be able to do a record with him before he passed. Aaliyah. I did I Don't Wanna and Come Over, but I think Come Over was the one that kind of that really hit home for me. And it's crazy because Come Over was not Aaliyah's song at first. It was man, what was the name of that group? Changing Faces. Changing Faces.
Changing Faces.
It was Changing Faces record, but when she passed, Aaliyah had already cut the record, and they were like, Aaliyah, you can only have one of the records, and the label wanted I Don't Wanna because Cube wanted it for a soundtrack, you know, which was on Friday. Okay, 5. I'm gonna say Mary J. Blige, Just Fine. Mary J. Blige, Just Fine.
Apologies for not knowing you was on that track. That's dope.
Oh yeah, that's me and Tricky Stewart.
Yep.
In The Dream. Yep. It's crazy how that happened because me and Chris Hicks, his wife, and Mary, they were sitting in a meeting where we were all sitting, and Mary was there. Kendall was with her at the time. They were sitting there, and she was waiting on some barbecue. I had my guy. Got him on the phone. She can't. People come to the South, they want some barbecue. She was like, I don't want no just any barbecue. It's like, no, I'm telling you now. And this dude, he gonna go and make the barbecue from. I was like, bro, it's gonna take you 3 hours to make that barbecue. So he's making the barbecue. So they sitting there waiting. So I was like, she was like, so y'all sit up in here? And I was sitting in front of the drum machine. She said, y'all sit up in here, y'all be making beats and stuff? It's like, yeah. It's like they don't ever make my beats in front of me. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. She was like, nah, did he come in and he had a record ready for me? I'll get to write with him a little bit. Then I was like, what? Swear to God, I said, what do you want people to know about you on this project? She said, I don't want no, I said, I don't want people to think I'm sitting in my $10 million mansion. I was like, okay. Just crying, singing, I'm not gonna cry. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want them to know I'm just fine. I was like, ooh. She's like, yeah, happy, something like you, like, you know, upbeat, da da da. Whew. I said, say less. I turned around, and I promise you, all I thought about in my head was Cheryl Lynn. Your love deserves an encore. So I said, boom, cat, boom, cat, boom, check, 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 boom, cat. She was like, off the drum alone, she was like, that's my single. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. She screamed and said, that's my single. I looked at Kendo, I said, she said, that's a, he said, she be knowing. And so Dream came back and they're like, what's that? What's that? I was like, I told her what it was. He was like, give me a track. He said, just fine, huh? Like, yeah, all right, bet. You know, Dream, he gonna repeat some shit. Dream go in there, fine, 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 fine. You just repeating it. And it just started getting good to him, I guess, and he just, after that, it's a blur.
Yeah.
Trick come in looking over them glasses. What y'all doing? That boy came in there, rap. Rap.
Wow.
That was it.
So what's next, Jazzy? Sound like you've accomplished everything, man. You work with the best of the best.
Doing vintage frames.
Okay.
Vintage frames coming soon.
Can I have a pair today, sir?
Not today, but I wish I'd have brought a whole case for everybody. But
damn,
they almost ready.
Okay.
Right now with China, you know, it's a lot going on. But you know
what
I'm saying. But you know, we getting the prototypes together.
Okay.
And I got it almost all the way right.
Yeah, those are fresh.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. What is that velvet? That's what I'm gonna call her.
Because I was trying to figure out, was that matted or was that velvet? Yeah.
Velvety.
I can is that velvety?
Yeah, you did. I think I'm gonna have like a mini lint roller to go with it. You know what I'm saying? Something real
Playerish.
Yeah.
I want to give a toast to you and your excellence and everything you've done for the game. Yes, sir. This is for the culture. This is for Shonuff, the actual song. Here's a fun fact. When I was 15, 16, I listened to Shonuff. I immediately went and got a Swisher Sweet.
Wow.
And found the most regular weed I can get my hands on.
Regular weed.
And I stuffed it.
You stuffed it.
And I smoked that motherfucker. Yes, I did. But thank you for you, Jazz.
Hey, man, thank you. Man.
I don't know where the game would be if you weren't here, bro.
Hey, man, God is good.
Hey, God is great all the time. Welcome to Members Only.
Yes, sir.
Woo! Woo!